Yeah, last talk for today. So I will talk about Alexa skill development. My name is Goran Vuksic and I'm originally from Croatia. I moved to Denmark 5 years ago, and 6 months ago I moved to Malmö, Sweden. I still work in Copenhagen for a company named Magnicio. And overall in IT I have 15 years of experience, and with this Alexa skill development I started like 3 years ago. It's not something I do at the work, it's something I do in my free time, just for fun. And because Alexa sits so nicely in this AWS ecosystem, I kind of find it interesting, and it's fun for me to develop some apps. So when we talk, let's first go through some basics. What we talk about. This device, Amazon Echo, is a personal assistant from Amazon. It is used to control household devices. You can listen music, you can ask it for the weather, and so on. Those applications that run on the Amazon Echo are called skills. There's many of them. You probably tried, if not this device, some other personal assistants that work in a same way. There's many versions of this device, and Amazon is really putting the Alexa everywhere. We have difference in sizes. Those speakers on previous picture and on big speaker over here on slide, you can notice there are only 2 buttons. That was first generation. Second generation we added the buttons with volume up and down. Now third generation, you can recognize it. It's a bit softer edges and such. It's a much better speaker now, and so on. So they are constantly improving it and adding new devices in this ecosystem. And it's not just about the speakers. You can find device for a car. For example, there are those devices with the screen. This is Echo Show and his small brother Spot. So beside voice, there is this picture display, but for Amazon, it's voice-first approach, and this is something that they want developers to consider, like to have in mind to use voice, and the screen is something that could be there, but not necessarily. In some versions, like this one, there's no screen, so you have to keep that in mind, and the amount of information on the screen is limited. Under the hood, how it looks like is one big speaker. So most of this box over here is actually a speaker, and we have this few buttons and some electronics that connects to the cloud. It wakes on the word Alexa and records what you're telling, sends it to cloud, tries to understand what action you are trying to perform, and gives you some result back with the voice. It's not just about those devices. Like, there's a whole ecosystem of connected devices. So I think first Amazon started with Echo buttons. And it's a gadget that is used to play games. So who first press the button answers the question, and things like that. There are many more useful devices, I would say. For example, Echo Connect can connect to phone line and can make calls, so can perform calls for you. There is also wall clock, like where you, with this traditional look, like you have a display how much time is left if you set the timer on Alexa. My friends use that while they are cooking, like setting up the timer, and yeah, in this way you can see it visually. There is also Echo Sub if you want to have some power playing the music. And some new things introduced lately in September last year, echo frames. Those are the glasses. Amazon is, at least for now, not trying to augment reality. So those are just glasses with Alexa in it. And you can invoke it and, I don't know, set some reminder or something like that. Depends how you use Alexa. And there is also a loop, which is a ring. So, for example, you can use it in a grocery. Alexa, tell me what I have on my grocery list, and then listen to and buy some stuff. So there is really a huge amount of devices that are now popping up and support Alexa. And for us as a human beings, I think it's pretty natural way to use those devices, because try to remember like how we interact with technology. We push the buttons, right? And this is something we learned over the time. Remember yourself, like when you started, it was one finger, then two fingers, then you finally figure out, okay, I can use the whole hands. But voice is something that we use every day, and it's a natural way to use it. And those devices are easy to set up and use. Don't know if you had any try to configure it, but you just plug it in, connect to internet, and start using different skills. It also connects nicely to Internet of Things. And in this example, Alexa is turning on the kitchen light. So that's the command it receives, sends the command to Alexa service, figures out what needs to be done, and then send it to specific kitchen light to turn it on. This is a reason, actually, reason why I bought the lights, smart lights in my house, and like that's how I use it at home in everyday use. Because for me, getting home from work, like I usually take food, sit in front of TV, and then I figure out I forgot to turn off the kitchen light. And using the voice just to turn it off is, yeah, nice and easy way to do it instead of standing up and going there, turning off, getting back there. I know it's not healthy to eat it in front of TV, but like we arrive home, in my home, at different times, so it's kind of, yeah, challenging to eat at the same time. And the way it the way you can connect it to different things, previously I said I built a lot of projects with it, and some of the projects I'll quickly show you now. I often go to hackathons, those developer competitions and such, and on one competition we connected Alexa to Lego Mindstorm, which was connected to guitar. It had two motors. One was hitting strings, and the other one was pressing strings. So it was basically playing one Rammstein song that hackathon was in Germany, and it was singing, not really singing, but pronouncing the lyrics of the Rammstein song Sonne. And this is how it looked like, and yeah, was pretty fun project to be built, and this whole connecting things to it is interesting. Like what you can do. Like there's only imagination. This is another example which I built. This winter holidays with my son. He's 12 years old, and we built it for Hackster.io voice challenge. He built this T-Rex robot all by himself. I'm super proud of that. And what we did, we connected it with Alexa, and now he's giving commands and saying move forward, and Alexa is controlling the T-Rex, turning on the motors and moving forward for specific amount of time. There are other commands, move back, left, right, it can turn, and such stuff. maybe interesting detail is that it has an infrared sensor on top. So, for example, he will put the hand in front, and T-Rex will try to bite him, right? So there's a lot of just for fun basketball. Alexa will reply, T-Rex doesn't like that. So yeah, getting back to the topic, it fits really nice with this Internet of Things, and it fits really nice with other AWS services. So you can connect it to different services and get some information from it, because the code that runs in the cloud is in Lambda, and you can connect this Lambda to some API to get some values. And one of the hackathons, that was actually first hackathon I did with Alexa, me and my friend Momo. I got Alexa from US 3 years ago, friend sent it over. So me and my friend Momo, we spent one afternoon figuring out, okay, how this works and what we can do. And when we figure out, okay, we can connect it like to APIs and do whatever, we used it on FinTech Hackathon to connect to their API and to be able to answer like, okay, what is my account balance? Like, am I running out of money? Like doing some simple prediction, like if I continue spending like that, or how much I spent yesterday, and stuff like that. So yeah, can do a lot of things. And interaction flow is something that Amazon describes in this way. We have a customer, Alexa, and your skill. So customer will ask some kind of question, or will give a command to Alexa. Alexa, do this, do that. And Alexa will identify which skill should it invoke, which we said skill is application. And try to figure out, okay, what is the intent here? What is the customer trying to do? And based on that, we'll invoke your skill. Skill will process the request and return text and graphics back. Graphics are optional and are used only for those devices you've seen that has screens. So text, when it's returned back, Alexa reads it, you hear it as a voice, and if there is a graphical representation, you see it on the screen. And interaction model, this is how it looks like. So we have this wake word, Alexa. You can also start it with echo, computer, and there is a fourth one. We'll recall later. And then we start our skill. In this case, this example, we have a skill master as a skill name. We can say open skill master or ask skill master and so on. And we have some intent, and that intent is something we want to do. And in this case, we want to ask what are skills. What are is some utterance, and skills, that is slot. That is some value we are passing on to our skill. So for example, if you look at the bottom of the page, I want to visit Portland. I want to visit, that's an utterance, and Portland is some value we are passing to our skill. I'll show you live demo how it works and how skills are built. So I'll go to developer console, sign in. I'll select Alexa Skills Kit, and I'll create new skill. I'll give this skill name Goran's Talk skill, and I can select several languages for this skill. We'll leave it to English UK. We'll say that this skill is custom, and I will choose Alexa hosted Node.js. This means actually that Alexa will take care of the backend code on its own, so I will not be required to handle the lambdas and do everything. As this console developed like recently, last year they added the code interface in console, which is really nice, so you can basically do everything at one place. There are different types of skills. Like now I'm choosing custom skill, but I could also say I want to flash briefing. And flash briefing is, for example, when you ask Alexa, okay, what are the news? And Alexa gives you some just a list of those news. You can also do smart home skill. Those are like pre-built skills that are there, like turning on the lights or video skill, or you can do music skill and so on. So we select custom and an Alexa hosted skill, and I'm going to create it. And as a template, I will use hello world skill, so I don't have to write everything from the start. I select choose, and now voice model is being generated. And after that, I will get into developer console where I can modify this model. At the moment, it's built on top of this hello world. I can modify the model. I can modify the code. But like currently with this model, I'm immediately able to use it. Now my Alexa is not connected, but as soon as this is done, I could start using that skill with voice. We'll do it over the developer interface over the simulator. The thing is the same. So we'll give it a few seconds to load. And we can see how that looks like. Okay, so we got into the developer console. And over here on the top we have some tabs. And first one is build. That's where we currently are. So we are building our skill. Code is used to enter the code. We can test it. And after that goes the distribution of the skill. So distribution, certification, analytics. This is for published skills. So you can put it on the skill store and allow other people to install it, and you can use, for example, analytics on some skill to see, okay, this is what will, this is how my skill is used. You can figure out how people interact with your skills. Should you improve some responses? Are they asking some questions that you are not able to answer and such? Over here on the right, we have skill builder checklist, and that consists of invocation name, intent sample slots, build model, endpoint, and in-skill products. On the right, we see some pop-up messages that appear as we develop skill. I'll close them down now, and as I said, this skill is ready to be used, so everything's marked green. Everything's built on template, everything's prepared. So let's see what actually this skill consists of. First, we have this invocation name, and that's how we are going to invoke this skill. So if we want to use it with Alexa, we will say, Alexa, open Goran's talk skill. Or just, I'll try to make it short like talk skill, so I don't have to type much in the console. I can save my changes to the current model, and I have over here a list of intents. So this is what I am able to do with the skill. We have built-in intents, which is like cancel, help, stop, and navigate home. So when something is canceled, when a user stops, when asks for help, users often ask for help because they don't know what skill is able to do. They could be guessing, but they ask, okay, what are my options here? And you get some options out. And this navigate home intent is just used for devices with a graphical interface. One intent we have over here is hello world intent. And we can see there are some sample utterances over here, 7 of them. So if we say, hello, how are you? Hi, say hi world, say hi, hi. And next page, say hello world and say hello. It should trigger this intent. So it will trigger one piece of code to execute some action. we can add easily another options over here. So let's, for example, add greetings. That was not on the list. So if you say greetings, it will also perform the same intent, just for a test. I'll save the model, click build model. Everything I do, like those messages are popping up, and it will now take a bit of time to generate the model. So model is based on natural language processing. When you say something, this device needs to figure out what was your intention, what you are trying to achieve. And based on that, it will execute some part of code and return you result back. And everything about model is made in this tab build. Now we switch to the code. We see that build was successful, and we see how the code for this skill looks like. It's a lot of code, but it's pretty simple. We have, I selected Node.js. It's similar if you choose Python. We have 3 files over here. One is package.json, which displays some information about this. We have a util.js file that has a function to get pre-signed URLs for S3. We will not be using that. And our index.js file where all our logic is. And over here we have some things defined as a constant. And I'll try to zoom in to explain this in more details so you can see it better. And for example, over here we have launch request handler. So when we start our skill, this is the part that will be executed. And in our handler part, we have defined the output, what will be output of this response. So our Alexa will say, welcome, you can say hello and help, which would you like to try? So when we start our skill, this will happen. If we also have that hello world, which we defined as a custom skill, custom intent, and this intent will reply back with hello world. I can change this code easily here in editor, and we will say hello AWS community. I can save the code, deploy it, and what happens now, this console automatically creates Lambda and sends everything over there. Deployment was successful, so we can go to test. We need to enable test for this skill. And now we can talk with Alexa. So on the left side, we have our simulator, and on the right side, we have output that will show, like JSONs that were sent to Alexa and back, like what was processed, and we have visual representation, how it will look on devices with the screen. So this is used for testing. If I type open talk skill.
Welcome. You can say hello or help. Which would you like to try?
So that's the launch intent that is defined in code, automatically started. So I want to try out that utterance that I added to other intent, that is greetings.
Hello AWS community.
So that part of code is executed. Sorry. So what we have here is fully functional skill. Now we can easily build on top of it. And let's, for example, that we want to build something useful. In the previous company, what was built, for example, was a skill that will give you some answers like number of users or answers like that. So basically, you can make your work easier if you need to provide some data on a constant basis. That skill will go to database, select something, make some counts, and reply back to you, like give you information that you want to know. So we'll now go through the whole process of how to create intent and what we need to do. I'll add new custom intent. And let's say that we have some application and we would like to know how many users are registered in that application. We will create number of users intent. It's kind of hard to see. You see it now. And after we define intent, so this is what user want to achieve, we need to define sample utterances. And this is how will user ask the skill to give him the value. So user can ask how many users are there, or can ask how many registered users, or can ask in some different way, number of users in total. So now I added those utterances. Of course, this can be asked in many different ways. And like when you publish skill and when people start using it for real, then you figure out, okay, maybe I need to add some more. There is one nice intent which is called fallback intent. If user does something wrong, he will end up there. So Alexa can reply back, okay, this is maybe what you should do. We said it's natural language processing, so based on these inputs, it doesn't have to be exact question. Alexa will try to figure out like what should be executed. We have this number of users intent, and now I'm going to save the model. I will build the model, which means that after building, in this model there will be those questions. Number of users in total, how many registered users, how many users are there. We go to code. And now we have one additional intent. So we need to handle it through the code. To do it in a quick and easy way, I will copy paste this hello world intent. I'll change the name into number of users, intent handler, and it will handle number of users intent. That's what I defined in the code. So for example, like what reply it will give back, there is 5 users. Okay, so only thing I need to do now is to add this intent at the end of the file to the list of intents. I click save, I click deploy, and what I did now is in this process I defined new intent so user can perform new action with this, and I added the code which handles this action. This code can also connect to the database, make select over there, give you some value back. So if you want to test this, I can open talk skill.
Welcome. You can say hello or help. Which would you like to try?
And I will ask how many users in total.
There is 5 users.
So my piece of code was executed correctly. Alexa understood what I wanted to ask and gave me result back. What you probably can notice about Alexa is that what we did so far is done in very flat voice, and there is this great new thing that Amazon is making better each day, and it's called speech syntax markup language, and it's super important for this voice technology, and something that will probably grow quickly. I see it as HTML in early days. Basically, you have in early days, you had the tags to make new row, make new link, and such. So this is a list of tags currently supported, but it will quickly grow. Same as, with HTML, we needed functionality and such. So it went forward pretty fast. So, for example, like let's say we want to make some fact skill. Firefly is the opposite of waterfall. We have that sentence, and if we want to achieve, like for user, give him half second to think about it, we could put a small break in front of waterfall. So result should be Firefly is the opposite of waterfall, right? Let's try it out. For trying out SSML, there is this nice thing in console which is called voice and tone, and over here you can just play around and click the button play.
Firefly is the opposite of waterfall.
So it was pronounced, and this break was taken in consideration. I show you that hackathon where we sync the lyrics with the playing guitar. We used breaks to be exact, so we had to do some tricks over there. But that was not the only tricks. I'll show you a bit more of this SSML, what can be done. So we also can use different effects, and in this case, over here in this example, there is an effect to whisper something, like we can whisper top secret. So if we try it out,
my job is top secret. Even I don't know what I'm doing.
So yeah, it can whisper. Unfortunately, it cannot sing yet. We can use tags for different languages, like here is the Italian example. On English, this would be read like per favor, and in Italian it's actually pronounced differently. Currently, list of languages doesn't support the Swedish language, but it will be there soon, I guess, because it grows quickly. Also, one example from that hackathon, die Sonne in German means the sun. And if you just put it in and give it to Alexa to pronounce it, it will probably say die Sonne. We can quickly try it out, but what we did, we had to use these German lang tags to get correct pronunciation. Please note here, it will first say it in English, and then it will say it in German. So I'll click play.
Die Sonne. Die Sonne.
So there's a big difference, right? Also with these tags, there is an emphasis, and like you can put the pressure on some words, like.
I really like skill development.
So, really like, and those are things we do normally in our everyday talk and such. And yeah, there's a lot of things like talking slowly, talking fast.
I can speak nice and slow. I can also speak super fast.
Yeah. And we can use some things like we can pronounce cardinal numbers 12,345, or we can pronounce the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can also spell out the words and so on. Like this whole list of the tags is in documentation with really nice example over here, like what can be done with it. So if you're developing skill, like you can check some tags. Just a second. For example, say as that I showed a few examples, there is much more, like how to pronounce date, time, telephone, and so on. There is also option like if you need to play some audio tag. Here's the example. You can go into documentation, just copy paste the example and try it out. And yeah, Amazon is very much encouraging developers to use this as much as possible into their applications, because this is to get this natural feeling how the things will sound. For example, like if you have a skill, build a skill that reads to child bedtime stories, right? If everything is in flat voice, yeah, maybe he will fall asleep faster, but it will not sound nice, right? So yeah. Example with audio.
Welcome to Ride Hailer. You can order a ride or request a fare estimate. Which will it be?
So that's like using audio in the apps to give it some special effects. And what it's used over here is Alexa Skill Kit Sound Library, which is also really nice library with a lot of categories where you can pick different sounds. And for example, for that dinosaur we built, I had to go over here and figure out, like, is there a dinosaur skill? And yes, there is a dinosaur sound, and yes, there is a lot of dinosaur sounds. So you can find whichever sound you like. I don't know, dog barking, and just use the code from here, copy paste it in your Alexa skill, and build it. And yeah, after you set up your skill, the rest is easy. You are building it. You can immediately publish it to review and write some description about skill and how is it used. You can also set up some payment inside of the skill, like if you want to sell some products and services and such, and publish it, get it to the market. Check analytics. There are two ways to earn money with skills. One is to sell something through it. The other one is like to get a lot of users. So Amazon is also supporting developers, giving them some money for having the popular skills. And with this, we get to end of my presentation. So thank you for listening. I hope you've seen that building Alexa skill is actually super easy. And the thing is, like I said a few times, it sits nicely in this AWS ecosystem. So basically, you can connect it to any other service and get some result from that service, perform some action and such. So, yeah. Thank you.